What's up everybody, Tom here with another video. We've just had Thor's hammers come in and smash this market straight back up. Will they be powerful enough to continue the move on in the next couple of sessions? We'll be taking a look at that and what history brings us post Thanksgiving in the markets. We'll also be taking a look at our Bitcoin crypto analysis, gold, silver, US oil, market indices, Tesla, Amazon and more. There's plenty to cover in this video and we hope you guys enjoy. Stay tuned everyone. All right, well, let's begin our market recap here for the markets closed 24th of November 2021. And when we take a look at the heat map here of the S&P 500, you'll notice there were some companies that were doing pretty well, semiconductors in particular. We had a few financials come back, Visa, MasterCard, etc. had some good sessions. And real estate was probably one of the standouts. But this doesn't tell the whole story. When we go and take a look at the indices, here's where the story really comes through. So we had some stats that we shared with you that the Wednesday was going to be quite strong. We knew the Monday and the Tuesday before Thanksgiving tend to be weaker days. But the Wednesday does tend to be a stronger day. And while we opened up down almost 1% plus, in fact, we were 1% down on the Nasdaq and IWM, the rally was epic. And it came through pretty quickly, and then we saw even further rallying into the close, which is very important when we take a look at those Thor's hammers a little bit later for the S&P 500. But everything across the board is looking much, much better, and this is the type of stat that we want to bring through and really let you guys know of, because Thanksgiving is a tricky event. While it's usually historically a green week, it can be a bit weird because of that Monday, Tuesday session play. And Friday also has some interesting stats on it. So we'll have a look at that very, very soon together. Let's look at the sectors. No one sector was really ever standout. Maybe real estate, the REITs here. XLRE was the best. Semiconductors did well. Technology also was out. And the worst for the session was XLB. That is the materials sector. XLB down 0.75%. And we'll go over here to the chart just to quickly show everyone the likelihood of these types of things occurring. So the last 5 trading days of November, let's remember this, have been positive since 1950 in terms of traditionally positive. We also have 2/3 likelihood the market would be up the day before Thanksgiving, which has occurred. And then we have a pretty decent, slightly better than a coin flip chance the Friday will be good. We'll take a look at that soon. And the Monday has a 71% chance of being good. That's Cyber Monday. So some pretty nice stats coming into the market. When we bring them together with our technical analysis, it can really give us confidence in making the right decisions in the market. Let's take a look at the VIX. This is the fear index. The fear index has dropped straight back off. Remember, if you're going to trade the fear index, the VIX, you've got to be in and out fairly quickly. You've got to really be nimble on this one. You don't want to hold the VIX for long, and a closure above 20 would have shown us that we were in some troubles. Now, generally, when it closes above 20, something big happens. I find it tends to be something like a 20-day moving average or a 50-day moving average gets bashed and smashed against, as in the market comes underneath it. And when that closure occurs, it sends the algorithms into a bit of a frenzy, and that tends to spike that VIX further, and you actually get the closure through. So just keep that in mind. When a key technical is happening on the S&P 500 and it breaks underneath, at the same time, you should see a closure on the VIX above a very key resistance such as the 20. Let's go over to the dollar index here. It's just a beast. It's a powerhouse. We're trading right now at 96.86. This thing's almost at 97 now. It's strength to strength to strength to strength. This is now 3 weeks of incredible bull strength and 5 weeks in total of really fantastic trading on the DXY. It shows you why paying attention to the weekly double bottom is so key. And in many ways, this is seen as a bit of a hedge against market uncertainty. I think it's personally more about interest rates and that we're going to now have pressure. You talk about 2021, the discussion point might be inflation. But when we go to 2022, what's it all going to be? Interest rates. I think interest rates are going to be the discussion point that's in all the newspapers next year. And we will hopefully be able to cut through that for you guys. So remember, subscribe, smash that like button as well if you like the videos. And hopefully together, we will be able to navigate those markets. Let's move over to more navigation because of the strong US dollar. Gold is struggling around our support, but you know what? It's holding here. Long leg doji not currently closed in about 29 minutes. This will be closed. So by the time you're watching this video, you'll probably know. Hopefully a long leg doji does close like this. Got the high, got the low, got the indecision right on our trend line. What do we want then? Is we want it to close above. Once that happens, decision made, and hopefully a resumption of the gold trend. Remember, you need a turnaround here. This is a falling knife right now. And while we have seasonality strength in December, remember, it's technically December. December moved up. December moved up. You know, you go through these years, it's more about December. December broke, moved up. So, and then even over here, December moved up. So this is what we're talking about with seasonality. You've got to be careful to bring seasonality alongside your technical analysis. If you're going to trade seasonality as well, you may need larger stop losses or a really good scaling concept. And I think this one here, like we spoke about in the previous session, it's really about looking for those turnaround stories. If you're going to trade a daily, at least get a 15-minute change of trend when it comes down to these key points of resistance that should act as support. That will stop you from getting into these areas poorly. And that's something we do always want to do. We want to make sure we get good valuations there. We'll cover silver again on the channel once we see gold pick back up. And they're basically going to watch each other. So we'll definitely be covering that soon. Let's move over to US oil, as I think this is worth discussing. Let's take a look at the 2-hour here. We've got our first signs of recovery coming through. Obviously, the downward trend has been smashed against. We have here on the left-hand side a bit of a dip. We've got a head, let's call it, or a double bottom base, and a potential for a right shoulder here. Clearly, this level of support will now act as resistance. And if we consolidate here and breach this 79.50 area, we should be looking at some participation. 80 will be the key zone to watch the most, but I like the idea of participation towards the bull side, and we're finally seeing some life back in the oil trade. Oil's been slow now for about 2 or 3 weeks. We've been pretty good together at picking key levels here on oil, and I hope you guys are really realizing that there's a reason why we set these levels. I mean, look at this daily 20. See how they all link together? Daily 20 will be here. If we breach and close above, we're getting above the 20. We'll be above the 20 and above the 50. Very important moving averages. We know it respects it, and it respects it on the downside. So that's when we get that participation and we feel better about the trade. This is just the first step of recovery so far. Let's move into the stock market. And for anyone that was trading Tesla throughout the session and had that feeling that it was going to be up based on stats, based on the fact that we were hitting a 20 moving average again in the S&P 500 or Nasdaq, they did pretty well. I mean, as a raw percentage, if you bought in the morning on Tesla, at one point you were up 6.11%. No slouch. There's a lot of percentage moves going on as Tesla continues to really consolidate after that large move. We moved up 64%. Now we've seen this huge kind of movement of 10, 20%, even in some days, up and down for Tesla as it tries to reprice itself. And I think it continues to be a bit of a day trade here. Go in, analyze it, make your suggestions for the day, figure out your biases, and then as it's trading within this huge range, this is where the day trader comes out. Because remember, when Tesla goes and reprices itself very quickly, it does tend to consolidate or at least go sideways for some time. And I feel like we're there at this stage. A few people disagreeing with me. We'll find out who's right, and I would love to be proven wrong. You know, it gets through 1200 for investors. We get a nice closure above like a 1250. Then we could really be flying. So we'll continue to watch this chart. We'll do it every day, and we'll find out what's going on with it. At this stage, that 1100's the key kind of critical area, and you're looking day to day to day. Let's move over to Amazon. We're going to cover this through the Friday into, of course, Cyber Monday. We'll find out whether we get an all-time record on Cyber Monday for sales. I think that'll be a big deal. Now, we asked the chat today in our live stream what people thought the biggest bit of news for Amazon was. And of course, the old sneaky split comes up again. Splits are quite profitable, actually, to trade. So retail obviously wants to be able to optionable trade things like Amazon. At current price, they may not be able to do so. So splits can be something that does help retail, and it tends to lead to a fairly large ramp. So this is one of the last stocks that's really trading at that really high rate. We've seen other splits such as Tesla, Nvidia, Apple, all these types of things happen in the past. We'll find out whether Amazon does do something like this. But we've got a long leg doji, we've got the high, we've got the low, we obviously have another high, we have a low, we have indecision right around this 35.80. We need to get that closure out so we can continue that ramp. And I would love to see a strong movement on Friday, hopefully, and then we get that really good result. Let's hope on Monday, Cyber Monday. And if we get that strength, we could be on, and I'm hoping that we can move towards those ranges of upwards of the 4,000 plus, because we've been stuck here in Amazon for a while. We've noticed a recovery, as in it's breached out the downward trend. It started this nice repair, and hopefully we can get that really good price action here to come through and push us to that 4,000 promised land. So Amazon will continue to cover this on the channel. FANG, let's move over to the indices now. The FANG stocks, look at this. Thor's hammers were also present in the FANG. We have rejection wick, no follow through yet, but 5,700. I'm sure many FANG traders are watching that with great interest, because you get follow through, you get that momentum. What's the story so far? It's come down to close to the 20 moving average. It's rejected twice. It's been belted back up there very, very strong. And now if we get the momentum, where do we look for? 5,800. I'm sure day traders are licking their chops hoping that that does occur. And it's certainly a good first positive sign in the markets here. We'll move over to IWM, another retest of the lows, long leg doji, the low here, the high, and of course the previous resistances. We're looking for a closure above the high. We didn't quite get it, but I'm sure a few of you were happy with the price that was reached. And some people that were buying IWM in the morning, if you take a look at this, the morning to the close trade was about 1.31%, and to the high about 1.5%. Not bad as a pre-Turkey or Thanksgiving event, so not too bad at all there. Another thing that you'll want to see is when we make that new high, you'll hopefully be breaching this 20 moving average on the 2 hour. So you'll notice here 1 rejection, 2 rejections. We want to breach this zone. That's something that's going to become very important when we're talking about the repair that needs to happen. That will also be a breach of the downward trend that we've got currently sitting on this chart. See how they all come together? There's the breach of the downward trend. I mean, it's not going to quite go through those tops. Some people will draw that. I'm going to go with this one here because that seems to draw through all of those previous little resistances, and it's consistent with the 20 moving average. So hopefully IWM can come up and start to do much better. Move over to the QQQ, bounced off the 20 daily moving average again. As we suspected, this is pretty strong trade here. We need that follow through action. So we're looking for the QQQ above, I believe it's 400 to show that follow through on the tech stocks. But a nice closure here for the Nasdaq. We'll move over there, 0.35% up on the day. But the story was much better than that. Of course, if you bought in the morning, it was up about 1.61% on the day. Off the 20 moving average, strong level of support. Stuck with the stats here of the Wednesday being a positive session into Thanksgiving. How can you not love how going into a holiday, and the market tends to like it? And the Nasdaq shows us one picture, but where I think the bigger picture is actually the US 500. On the futures, it looks like a double hammer. And this is strong. I mean, price action has that momentum closing through. It gets above 4,700 after the close. It's trading currently at 47.05, 47.01 on the real market. And we start to now talk about this 47.20 area. Should we close above that? We've got a little bit of consolidation here. A lot of people will take that distance. They'll take that out, and they'll say, okay, we're going towards that 47.75, 4,500 land. And that's what a lot of day traders are going to be looking for, a breach of this zone with such great follow-up. There's also a couple of other things that we can consider. Let's go over to the real market here for the S&P 500. We've got the pivots on here. So you'll notice the green dotted line. This is the pivot. This is the monthly R1 pivot. 47.20, a huge level to be broken. When you break pivots, you tend to gravitate towards the next pivot. So if we think about previous breakouts, here's a breakout. It gravitated to the next pivot, the monthly R2. So where's the monthly R2 here? Wow, it's quite far up. Check this out. It's actually sitting at 48.27. So we're talking about a pretty large movement and a very decent potential should that be what we're hoping to have happen here. So a closure above 47.20 is a big deal. Now, it's not all lost for the Bears. The Bears can still win out here if they choose to, but a closure above this zone where it's been rejection week, rejection week, rejection week, rejection week, any closure should signal further bullish pressure. And if you looked at the futures trading, there was actually some pretty high volume coming in. It's not like it was a super low volume day overall. It was not too bad at all. So it was moving on proper pretenses. From the bear side, all you guys need is to get back below that daily 20. This red line here, we get below, we snap that. Effectively, we would snap the Thor's hammers on the futures market. And at that stage, where do we go? Most likely next stop, I would actually think about 45.50 around this area here. So 50 moving average, but the monthly S1 down here, 45.50. So for bears, it's not all lost, but you're hoping for a turnaround story. And should it close underneath here, a quick reprice down, back down to that previous resistance, monthly S1 pivot. So this is going to be a big deal wherever we do break. At this stage, definitely leaning towards the bull side. Stats are on your favor. Optimism does pay in the markets, and we've got the Thor hammers. But this is a big pivotal point. Let's see what happens through the Friday, Monday sessions. Now we'll move over here to Bitcoin. So a lot of people are concerned about this market, and rightfully so. I mean, I'm not concerned longer term, but I think that the short term, you could clearly see here the Bitcoin is weakening. We've now tested the 56,000 once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. We continue to rally weaker each time coming into that. And you'll notice I've got this little downward trend I've drawn. It's not a strong trading trend, but certainly just showing that signs of weakness here in the markets. 60,000 tends to be where I believe the market is looking at that strong bullish pressure. Once it gets through there, we've really put a base in. We've said, you know what? We've tested this area enough. We believe it's worth more. The whales are all good. Let's go. But this is where things get a little bit concerning. We know the daily's rejected this zone several times. Let's take a look at the daily right now. Rejection, 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 rejection. All signs pointing towards pretty good things, except for that weakness that we've seen. At 60,000 plus, great times ahead, hopefully. But if we do get underneath this 56-ish zone, this 55 kind of 8, where's the next stop? Well, we'd have to think around that 52.5, 52K. We've got this green lines here for a reason. This is our interest zone. It always has been our interest zone. We've been following this now for a long time and watching it. Where people's concerns are is BTC shorts. So they're concerned over the idea that we've got whales reloading on their shorts. And this has not happened now for a while. So look at this. It's actually up 40% today. Now, 40% sounds a lot, but we need to put in perspective of where the shorts have usually been. We've got to pay attention to this. This is coming onto our daily analysis at this stage, because if it continues to ramp and we see a huge movement in BTC shorts at the same time, let's say even Bitcoin's going up, what's going to be happening? The whales want to push it down. And who tends to win? The whales. Because we're plankton in the ocean. They come out, they just gobble us up. They eat us all. They're destroying all the retail herd, and the whales do tend to win this battle. And we've detailed that several times on the channel ever since we've been covering Bitcoin. And, you know, when the whales are coming out and they're saying, no, I want to short Bitcoin, they do tend to win. So we'll find out whether this keeps ramping. If it does, it is of some concern, but 60,000 is still one of the key levels here. And of course, 55.8. Trap that Bitcoin, get ready for the big move. Hopefully we do get it. And the rest of the coin market in general is actually weakening a fair bit. So we've seen Polkadot come down, KSM come down, ADA, even ETH's come back a little bit. So it's clearly the sentiment is coming out of the markets, and hopefully we do see a turnaround soon. Okay, everyone. Well, I want to say a massive thank you to each and every one of you out there. If you do want to subscribe, make sure you do that right now. Smash that like button. It helps us out a lot. And have a great Thanksgiving to everybody that celebrates us, including everyone that's American here on the channel. Make sure you spend some time with your family. I'm sure you're all looking forward to it, and it sounds like a great time to me. I also want to let everybody know we have a Black Friday sale on our Ultimate Trading Masterclass. The links are in the description below, in the comments down below. If you want to check it out, it's limited, so obviously make sure you take advantage of that if you're interested, and we'll see you in the next video coming out after Thanksgiving. It's going to be a good one. Thanks so much, guys. Bye for now.